extremely hot in Pretoria, but that doesn't keep the Bulls inside. They are still very busy training in action for the end of the season. And we're very excited today to catch up with a senior member of the team, Edgar Marutlulle. Edgar, thank you very much for speaking to us. We were watching you on the field. It was a grueling training session.
Legs are very tired, body's very tired. It's been a couple of days consecutively, so hopefully after tomorrow we can get some rest and just put the legs up.
Edgar, you've played all over the country, but it started right here in Gauteng. Take us back to where it all began.
Was that before or after 94? I think so, I think it was after 94. I started off in Boksburg. I'm originally from Vosloorus in Boksburg. I grew up playing soccer in a school called Free Park Primary School. I never watched the 95 World Cup. I always thought I was going to play soccer, 96 African Cup of Nations. So for me it was weird to arrive at high school and be playing rugby and everyone was saying, did you watch 95? Did you watch 95? And I'd never watched a single day of rugby.
Yes.
So I went to Poch Boys in grade 8 and I started playing rugby. At the end of the year I got Player of the Year, and from there I was like, wow, I can actually do this, huh?
And it seems like the rest is history.
Yeah, as cliche says, the rest is history.
What do you love most about the sport?
More than everything, I love the people. I love the fact that you get to improve every single week. There's a different obstacle, there's a different challenge. We've got to adjust, almost being like in a war, in a battle, and you've got different battles. Battle of that place, battle versus Western Province, battle versus Johannesburg, the Lions. So every week it's something new and you've got to change a couple of tactics. It's really awesome.
When you speak about it, you speak with such love and such passion for the game. What is it, I know you spoke about the people, but what is it that keeps you going? I know sportsmen always have hardships, injuries, politics on the field, other kinds of things, but what is it that always has kept you going?
For me, my why is probably my family, my mom, my brother, my younger sister. And also for me now, it's more than that. It's about every single person that supported me, every single game, every single practice is for them because they stand behind me. Yes. So I might think I'm alone in the field, but there's people from Vosloorus, Boksburg, Potchefstroom where I studied, Eastern Cape where I went to go play rugby there, and people that have followed me for a long time. So every single game is about every single person that supported me, that's been there, even the people that are still coming to support me. So I give it to them and I say, this is for you guys as well.
That's beautiful. So you spoke about your family. Tell us a bit more about growing up and your mom, and I'm sure she's so proud of you.
Yeah, my parents actually never watched a rugby game until like I was in my second year of varsity.
Really?
My mom doesn't even know a single thing of rugby. She just catches the rugby once or twice. Wow, my son's doing well. But I think that's what's also been awesome is about not having parents that are involved in rugby. So whenever I come home, there's no, oh, you did well this past weekend, you think you're a star. Yes. And so we'll get home, listen, do you want to wash the dishes? Okay, Mom, I'm washing them.
That's very special indeed. But you know, I think that's probably the most rewarding thing is making your parents proud, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that have given you the opportunity to be the person you are, to be the player that you are. If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. I think my mom plays a key role in my life. But honestly, I value now when I bump into people more and they're like, what sport do you play? And you're almost like an evangelist for rugby to say, listen, this is something you should do. You meet petty people, you meet people all over the country and they're like, oh, you play rugby, what is that? Oh, I think I've seen that somewhere.
Yes, it's important.
So you become an evangelist for the sport actually.
Absolutely. So tell us more about that. It's also about breaking barriers. I know it's been a long time coming, but there's a lot of talk of transformation in rugby, in the sport, taking it to different townships which used to be predominantly football playing townships. I mean, that's so important in growing this sport throughout South Africa.
Absolutely. I think the people that are in the right places, in the high places, I'm sure they've got their policies and their things in check. So for us as players, we'll try and support guys, try and create environments where guys feel comfortable to come in here, and we've got to push a boundary and allow other people to make them comfortable in this space. But the rest of the stuff is for people upstairs that have to do those things.
But for you also to inspire young kids who thought that they'd never be able to play rugby back in the day. That's your job as well.
Absolutely. I mean, when I go to Jane First, where my father's from, no one there knows anything about rugby. So every time I've arrived at holidays, everyone asks me, oh, listen, can you please get us a rugby ball? Can you please remember this guy? Oh, did you meet Trevor Nyakani? Oh, I heard there's a guy called Jesse Creer. Please, do you know him? Tell me a bit about him.
That's very special. What's a day in the life of Edgar like?
Oh, it starts terribly early, probably earlier than what I'd expect it to be, but we start about 7:15 in the morning. We have to be here. We've got a meeting 7:15 till about 8:15, just strategizing for the day, what the tactics are, what did we do well yesterday that we need to do well today. From there, about 8:30 till about 10:30, we've got a training session. And then about 10:30, we've got a gym session till about 12 o'clock. We get an hour break for lunch. And then at about 1:30, we've got another meeting for half an hour to strategize the afternoon session. And then from 2 till about 4, sometimes 4:30, when the coaches are a little bit livid or they want to fix something better, then we end at 4:30 in the day.
No, it's a very, very long day indeed.
It is.
So you've played for a couple of teams, Lions in the Eastern Cape, and now you're at the Bulls. I know it's very unfair to ask you who's your favourite team that you've played for so far. So let's start off with the fairly obvious. What's it been like playing for the Bulls this season?
Playing for the Bulls, I think, is a dream definitely come true for my life. I think every player, doesn't matter where you are in the world, if you ever come to South Africa, you have a desire to come play. We call it the rugby cradle of rugby kind. We call it the cradle of rugby kind. So it's a beautiful place to come to, and it's something that gets written in history for the rest of your life. It's an absolute blessing and an honor to be here.
What's it that's so special about the Bulls? Is it the team, the camaraderie? What is it?
I think it's about legacy. I think of legacy, heritage. You walk in here, you walk in any change room. It doesn't matter what happened last weekend, your result, you know that you carry so much legacy, you've got so much responsibility. So people of Pretoria, Tshwane, for the last 80 years that they've been alive.
That's very true indeed. I understand that you, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you did play under Coach John Mitchell. Is he probably one of the coaches that sort of had a big influence on you?
Coach John Mitchell, I consider him probably one of the masterminds of rugby, probably one of the top 3 coaches in the world. And I told him this other day when he left, and he coached me twice in my life. When I got my first break from UJ playing Varsity Cup, and he called me to the Lions. And when I was here at the Bulls, he came back the second time, and it's been an absolute pleasure coming through him. It's like some people get to experience a solar eclipse once in their life, and I got to experience it twice in my life. So it was a phenomenal experience always.
Other coaches that you have a soft spot for?
Oh, I think probably my whole life. I think most of the coaches that have been around my life, I've been fortunate to have good coaches. My under 15 coach, his name is Karel May and Potchefstroom, fantastic individual. There's a guy called Dieter Bosman. He's at Varsity Sports recently. Phenomenal man as well, that played a major role in who I wanted to become as a rugby. And yeah.
Goals for the future? I know, I'm sure Springbok dream is still there somewhere.
I think if you don't want to become that, you don't come to training. For me right now, it's about contributing to this team more than anything else. I'd love to contribute, no matter whether it's playing, whether it's information, whether it's skills, whether it's tactics. Right now, I'm proud and to contribute to this wonderful place and say that I'll be part of the team, whether it's Springboks or whether contributing to making the next Springboks in the team. That's a role we've got to take now as senior players, yeah.
That's very beautiful indeed. I know the Bulls have had a bit of a topsy-turvy couple of seasons. As a senior player of the team, as you mentioned, where are you hoping to take the team, obviously, to new heights?
I think it's been a topsy-turvy season for South Africa generally as rugby. But I think we're definitely in the right path. I think with Rassie Erasmus now as a new coach, we've seen already the result with the All Blacks past weekend. We're definitely in the right path. He's brought in some international experience guys from outside Wales, and he's brought in some good guys. So we're in for a good one.
I'm glad to hear that. So let's move a little bit away from the rugby. I know you've got a big heart for rugby, but I'm sure the football is somewhere still there in the heart.
Ooh.
I hear you're a Chiefs supporter. Me too.
Chief supporter, can I say that? I am a Chief supporter. I absolutely am a big fan of Solani's and the whole team now. My favorite player left recently, Tsepo Masilela. So, but right now we're building a strong team right now. So we've won 3 in a row. So I'm sure now we're going to be firing this season.
So you still follow the league?
I hope not to, but I do it every single day. I always check on what's happening. So when I walk past the Soccer Latuma magazine, I try not to look, but I'm always looking at what Chiefs won, who Amazulu played, what Solani's is saying about this week, what Micho is saying. And I respect as well Pitso Mosimane as a coach. I think he's a phenomenal coach in South Africa, probably one of the masterminds of South African soccer. I really enjoy him.
So I was going to ask you, so now that you're playing at Loftus, were you not sort of pushed to change to the guys down the road, Sundowns?
My father and I grew up actually coming to Loftus and Audi Stadium, Mamelodi. My father was an avid Mamelodi Sundowns supporter. So I grew up, my father supporting Sundowns, but somewhere along the line I became rebellious and I said, I'm a Kaizer Chiefs supporter. But we still have a lot of things to do with Sundowns, and I support them from a brand perspective. We share Puma, we share Loftus, and so we share the same city as well, so it's beautiful.
Just your final words for young kids that want to take up rugby but maybe don't always feel like it can be a career. Just your advice to them.
I think for any young kid that wants to take up any sport, I think any dreams or any ambition that you have is never ever really realistically in your own mind. There's no dream that's realistic in your own mind. So don't believe someone that says realistically this thing can't happen or realistically that thing can't happen, because our dreams are far better. The things we achieve in life are far better than any person could ever say realistically you can or can't do that.
Edgar, thank you for taking time to speak to us. We really, really appreciate it. I'm sure you want to go and hit the showers and get some good rest.
Thank you, Mosh.
Well, that was Bulls senior player Edgar Marutlulle about his dreams for the future and how he'd like to inspire the next generation of rugby players. From me and the team at Ringside of Life, bye-bye.